Okay, in this lesson we're going to look at the electric piano. I really like this part and I think this is going to be a good opportunity for you guys to actually play a part in. It's not massively complex, they're all padded chords and you can actually record in say 1 to 4 bars at a time. I think it's worth doing this because when you get to A2, a lot more of the parts you're going to want to actually have to play in. So it's a good idea to build up some of those musicianship skills now and actually play some of the parts in. So far, we've worked through a few of the instruments, and this is the first one that I think most people should be able to play in on their MIDI keyboards. So it's going to take you a bit longer, but remember, a couple of tricks that you can employ is you can actually loop the section and you can actually have hit points so that you can actually drop in and drop out. Okay, so depending on what software you're using, you can set up your playhead here, press the record, and just record for these particular sections. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. So you can just literally play one chord in at a time. If you play this one in, it's gonna sound fantastic. You're going to get all your velocities done for you. You're going to get your live musicianship part done, so you're going to score some extra marks there. And you're still going to be able to edit it afterwards. So that's going to be a really good thing to do, to actually play this one in as slow or as long as you want. However, if you do play this in, you're going to need to understand which chords you're going to need to play, and we'll cover that in just a minute. Firstly, let's look at the timbre that we need to set this instrument up. So this is the electric piano. The timbre that you're going to need is some kind of Rhodes classic Fender piano. So the Fender Rhodes electric piano, sort of 1970s. The one that I'm using here on the left hand side for Logic is called the Classic Suitcase Mark IV. This is a good one. It comes preloaded, so if you've got Logic 9 or 10, this will be there. If you're using Cubase, I think Cubase has got a really nice Rhodes piano, so you're going to be equally suited over there as well. But that is the instrument you're going to look for. There are slight variations in between each of the instruments. This one I found is just perfect. All I did for this is just come over to the, I think it was electric piano category, and then started scrolling through all of the Classic Suitcase sounds. I'll quickly play this to you, and we'll compare and contrast the two between mine and the actual song. So here it is. Okay, so let's play the songs. And as you can hear, that is almost identical. There's kind of no massive differences there. That was ridiculously easy actually to do this part in terms of getting the timbre right. So once you've chosen the timbre, you will notice that it is quite low in the mix. So at the moment I'm just sketching out the kind of sounds that I'm after and where they're placed in the mix. You will have to come back to this. You can't just leave them there. There's points in the song where the piano gets a bit louder, a bit quieter. So this is my starting reference. It's really important I say that this is my starting reference. I will have to change this. I will have to come back to it. My next reference is this panning. So at the moment, I'm hearing it slightly off into the right ear. That's how I'm hearing it at the moment. I might change my mind on that, and you should definitely be listening to this song and making sure you agree with that. If you don't agree with it, that's absolutely fine. You do it the way that you think it is. I wouldn't suggest pushing it too far left or too far right. It's, you know, if you're listening to the track, you're hearing that almost in the center, but for my ears, it's just pushed slightly off. The reason I push it slightly off to the side is because I'm just trying to sculpt the sound at the moment to get enough space for my lead vocal once I start inputting that. So it's really important because that's going to go straight down the center, and I need that to punch through. So I'm literally going to try and find space for it. I'm going to do this by panning, by volume, and also by frequency manipulation. On this particular track, I haven't done any frequency manipulation because I just haven't had to. The track just works, okay? So next thing, so low in the mix, a bit of panning, the instrument sounds all good. We're going to get you guys to play in. Now, if you're viewing this from the lesson, underneath this video, you're going to find the chord sheet for each of the sections. And if you're playing in, you're going to need to know the chords. You're going to need to practice each of the individual chords first. If you're not a confident player, don't feel embarrassed just to play one chord, press the stop button, patch in the next chord, press the stop button. The benefit of it being MIDI is it won't overwrite anything done previously. So you only need to play the chord that you're going to play for that particular bar. Then you can press stop, you can trim it, and you can do whatever you need to do. Play it to a metronome or play it to the actual track just to make sure you get it completely and utterly in time. It's allowed to waver off the grid a little bit, this one, just to give it that more realistic feel. Also, look for repeated parts. What you're going to find is there are a few sections that are repeated. The basic chord structure of this, it starts off almost always with the F sharp minor chord, then it pretty much always goes to the C sharp minor chord, and then this is where the variant comes after this. Sometimes there's an arpeggio, like just an upward kind of broken chord over D, or it could be over B minor, okay? Pretty much the chord structure, and like I said, it'll be at the bottom of the, if you scroll down now, you'll see it just below this video. The basic structure for this intro section is F minor, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, D, D, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, B minor, B minor. Those are pretty much all the chords you're going to need. So if you just practice those 4 chords before you get started, and then you can use the indications that I've kind of used. There are inversions, so you are going to have to be very careful about the inversions. Remember, the marks for this, you're going to get 8 marks for making sure those pitches are right, okay? Make sure those rhythms are right. So it's really important that you get the right inversion, and look on the score for that inversion, okay? Now, we're looking at repeats, possible repeat sections, so you're not going to overdo the workload here. The first one that comes in is this one here. This is a complete and utter repeat. The chorus and the bridge is almost identical, okay? This pre-chorus I've copied over twice. This is not on the score, okay? So I had to work this out based on the chords. So once I'd figured out what the chords were, I just inputted this pattern. Once again, on the actual lesson, I will give you a screenshot of these chords so it can help you input it if that's the way you want to do it. Once again, I would definitely recommend that you play this part in. Okay, so look for the actual repeats that you could use. There doesn't seem to be any electric piano in this first verse, but on the score it shows it is definitely there. And then we've got this fade. This one here is slightly different to this one. It drops out a few chords, and where it's changed is this chord here on bar 92. It's just dropped that chord completely, and because of where we're stopping the song, it will have faded by this point. So I've just completely muted these parts here, so I've just dropped it at bar 96. Remember though, my bar numbering at the moment is going to be different from yours because I have included the pre-intro, but the score only requires, and Edexcel only require you to do this intro. So at some point I will drop this pre-intro, okay? Inputting the arpeggio. So here we are, the pre-chorus, and there's another one here on my bar 20. A nice little arpeggio. Playing this in, you won't have to worry about this. If you are typing it in though, it is a very tiny arpeggio. It's a very kind of ring. It goes upwards, so you have to start with a lower note, make sure the lower note is played first, and then gradually bring it in, okay? So let's just play that so you can hear that one. Here it comes. Okay, so that took me a little bit of time just to work out, but it certainly seems like it stops a bit short, and it's just a very quick ring on the piano. To play that broken chord on the piano is a cinch. So, you know, please, if you want to get those extra marks, the electric piano is the one that you're going to get a bit of free rein, and it's gonna help you with your musicianships later on to make sure you get ready for task 3A and A once you get to A2. That's pretty much all I have to say about the piano notes. On the lesson, once again, you're going to get the chord structure plus a few screenshots of the notes that I've put for each section. Give it your best shot.